H's, that's the time that it took for CHANGMO to rise to the top of the Korean urban scene. 8 years of hard work fueled by a boundless ambition and a will to challenge himself constantly. To explain such a success, it is often concluded that CHANGMO is a music prodigy. And while this fact is most certainly true, it is also quite reductive. Surprisingly enough, the best way to understand CHANGMO's success might have been revealed by CHANGMO himself, through the concept of the underground rockstar, his alternative stage name. Hi everyone, I'm Ellie from K.viar, and in this video we are going to see how CHANGMO became the underground rockstar and how this stage name encapsulates perfectly the reasons that led to his success. To understand how CHANGMO became the so-called underground rockstar, it is important to first go back to his origins. CHANGMO was born on May 31st, 1994, in Gyeongseong-gun, a county in the province of Gangwon-do in South Korea. What you need to remember, though, is that a few years later, when he was about 8 years old, his family would have decided to settle in Deokso, a small city near the cities of Namyangjeoshi and Seoul. This is where he grew up, and yeah, that's an important detail, but we will get back to this later in the video. So CHANGMO grew up in a rather modest family. He has a younger sister, and it seems that he was a pretty vivid child. Thus, to foster his creativity, his mother decided to become an English teacher so she could pay for piano lessons.
그녀는 고민들을 했지 내 아들을 피아노 쪽 특히 클래식 피아니스트가 되게 하도록 하려면 어떻게 해야 할까도 동시에 가사 영어도 각석사하기도 다 썼지.
CHANGMO was 5 when he started to play the piano, and it turns out that he quickly showed signs of virtuosity. Whether it was classical music or jazz, the young artist was practicing with passion in order to become a professional pianist. But, well, as you can imagine, things didn't go as planned, because if not, he wouldn't be the CHANGMO that we know today.
운명의 화살 힙합이란 바이러스 온몸에 퍼져난 미치게 만들어버린 이 죽이는 음악 속 Keep it real even if I'm gonna die 그때 그 시절 난 매주 underground 깊은 곳에서 작은 꿈을 키워갔어 이해 못해도 상관없다고 계속 밀어붙여 내 배짱으로.
CHANGMO's life took a turn the day he listened to Josok's song hip-hop music for the first time. He was 12 back then, and he ended up liking hip-hop so much that just about 1 year later, he started to write his own rap. In hip-hop, CHANGMO found new creative liberty, a liberty that he didn't have as a pianist, but let me explain. It seems that at some point, he started to associate playing the piano with playing what composers such as Mozart or Beethoven wrote. And it really bothered him because he wanted to create and not just reproduce. So, in a sense, in hip-hop, CHANGMO found freedom. Another difference is that while being a pianist can be lonely, with hip-hop, he actually got to connect with other aspiring artists on shows and collaborations. At around 13-14 years old, he became a member of a crew called Black Pirates. And if you are a hardcore BTS fan, then you might already know that RM has also been part of this crew. And yeah, there are still some records of that time. He would have also formed the Givenchy Boys with another famous figure of the Korean urban scene, his bestie when it comes to autotune. I'm talking about no one else than K.viar. He first started as Lupedo, and he also had a stage name for his activities as a producer, with Melonius or Chan the Melonius, which is a reference to the American jazz pianist and composer Thelonious Monk. But let's get back to the point. Besides the live performance, CHANGMO also started to be active on SoundCloud, and he quickly released his first mixtape. You can actually notice a similar pattern between his first 3 mixtapes. So, Donbol Junbi, or DBGB, roughly translated as Getting Ready to Make Money, Donbol Chigan, or DBSJ, roughly translated as Time to Get Money, and Byuldwell Junbi, or BDGB, roughly translated as Ready to Be a Star, that he released over 2013 and 2014. For those mixtapes, CHANGMO indeed mostly performed on existing beats, which gives a nice insight of his influences early on, such as Snoop Dogg's Drop It Like It's Hot, Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangsta by the Ghetto Boys, or Lil Wayne's Hustler Music, to name a few. I won't show you extract because I'm kind of afraid of the DMCA, but if you're interested, I did a Spotify playlist with some songs that have somehow influenced him. I talked about autotune earlier, and well, the evolution of its use over these 3 mixtapes is also interesting to understand his musical evolution. It's from the second mixtape that the usage of autotune starts to be more noticeable in his music, especially in the melodic rap parts, and there is a reason for this. You see, CHANGMO was building quite a reputation on the ground for his technique when it comes to his flow, but he couldn't sing well, which was frustrating to him as he could therefore not sing along with the melodies. Thus, the use of autotune allowed him to broaden his creative scope. But then, on the third mixtape, you can notice that the use of autotune is not only about singing skills anymore, but that there is a more artistic or like experimental intention. Speaking of experimental intention, just before this mixtape, so in June 2014, CHANGMO released Gangster, his debut single featured by the singer Levy. And let's say that this was a rather surprising choice for a debut project because it's a dubstep beat. And yeah, CHANGMO did release some remix with dubstep influences in the past, but it's not exactly representative of his musical universe either. But anyway, then in 2015, there is a new shift in his musical journey with the release of the mixtape Incomplete. Just like the first 3 mixtapes, this project has not been released officially. However, it still marked a milestone as he had never been involved to this extent in the production before. Out of the 12 songs of the mixtape, CHANGMO produced 9, including Erase Me, which is honestly incredibly addictive. With those 4 mixtapes, the fundamentals of CHANGMO's music are pretty much all here. And so CHANGMO is ready to release his first official mixtape, Motown, unveiled in March 2016. With Motown, CHANGMO shared his ruthless ambition. But you can also feel some sort of restlessness, specifically in songs such as Party, Nobody, or Light Me Up. You're my star. I want you. 그때는 확신했었나요, 미리? No answer, you shine. 나의 시작, 나의 시점, 날 바라봐. You're my life is like 오렌지 색의 터널. I go hard. 헤매임 속 그래도 life goes on. 별빛에 말해 light me up. I'm the man in the mirror groaning light me up. 그 아름다운 두 눈 어서 light me up. 어서 날 비춰. CHANGMO was dreaming of greatness, looking at the sky and waiting for any sort of sign. But despite all his ambition, in the end, he was alone facing his uncertainties. No one could guarantee him that he would indeed make it.
나한테 그 당시 때 제일 힘들었던 거는 그냥 더뎠던 게 제일 힘들었던 것 같아. 나는 막 믹스테이프를 한 해 한 해 내고 나도 어떻게 보면 무명 래퍼지만 경력이란 게 쌓이고 있는데 잠자고 일어나 보면은 힙합 씬에서 항상 스타들이 생겨 있거든. 막 갑자기 혜성처럼 데뷔해가지고 유명해진다거나.
And well, as you might have guessed, no, success didn't come with Motown either. so CHANGMO was pretty much done at this point. Thus, for the release of Don Bolchigan 2, so Time to Get Money 2, in July 2016, his first official EP, he honestly did not have many expectations. In fact, he was even somehow envisioning quitting music. You might think that it was a bit dramatic, but try to see it his way. He had been relentlessly releasing projects for 3 years now, but did not seem to be able to catch attention outside of the underground. But that's not it. Alongside this, he applied 2 times to Berklee College of Music, which is basically the Harvard of music, and he had been selected those 2 times. But, because yes, there is obviously a but, even though he played Bill Evans' Waltz for Debbie, he didn't manage to get a scholarship, and sadly he was not worthy enough to attend without it. So yes, CHANGMO was a music prodigy and all, but at that time it kind of seemed as if everything was against him, you know? Enters our life savior, The Quiet.
4억짜리 충동적으로 go whip back on noise master means who shit not regular check deal who shit I was right you was wrong my teachers 광명어동 놈이 still getting richer 모두가 지켜봤지 내가 이뤄낸 기적들의 무게 래퍼 불교 TV 먹인
2 or 3 days before the release of this EP, so Don Bolchigan 2, The Quiet contacted him and offered him to sign with Ambition Music, a new sub-label of Illinois Records that Doki and The Quiet were planning to launch in September. And you know, at that time, it seems that CHANGMO was getting offers from other companies. But he was also secretly hoping to join Illinois Records, thus this chance with Ambition Music was his best alternative in a way. The official announcement of CHANGMO joining Ambition Music is done on October 1st, and Don Bolchigan 3, or DBSG 3, his second EP and first project under the label, is released on December 15th. Yet, well, no, CHANGMO still did not get the fame that he craved. But you know, success is like everything in life. Sometimes it comes when you expect it the least. And that's exactly what happened for CHANGMO. On December 31st, Yu, Jae-seok and Doki are performing the song Like, featured by Lehigh for the Infinite Challenge Great Heritage. You might wonder why I'm talking about this. Well, if you look at the video of the live performance, you can notice that the guy playing the piano is none other than CHANGMO. And like, I'm not sure how come, but it turns out that following this performance, CHANGMO's name ended up trending on Naver. The mainstream public, if I may say, was finally paying attention to CHANGMO. They were listening to his discography, and that's how Maestro and Alumdao, translated as Beautiful, 2 tracks from Don Bolchigan 2, so Time to Earn Money 2, blew up. It is to the point that Maestro will peak at the 42nd position and Beautiful at the 29th, despite having been released 4 months prior. There is something oddly meaningful with CHANGMO finally getting the recognition that he craved with Maestro, because it's literally his story. With the lyrics of Maestro, CHANGMO is making a parallel between the classical music world, his former dream as a pianist, and the hip-hop scene, his new path.
나는 피아노를 쳤어 영재였지 베토벤부터 모차르트 바우 쇼팽 선배였지 원하나난 걸 적고서 가사를 썼어 14셨지 난 이게 참 좋아 그건 못 보러 그 샤키들 모두야 모두 프로듀서 최 무한리 피그램 그게 내 기락장 마세와리 컵 하얀색 대리석 하우스 그게 내 기락장 마이크 바로 나의 지위 불러 마이스트로 마이스트로 불러 마이스트로 마이스트로
There has been a real craze around CHANGMO following this momentum, something that you can notice by the fact that he is invited for original soundtracks for dramas and collaborations outside of the hip-hop world, such as with Yolin from the group Sista for the song Blue Moon, produced by Groovy Room, or with Solan for the song Wine, produced by BTS Suga.
바빠 babe 아니야 그만 잡아 phone 우리 얘기 다 끝났어 난 차가운 남자라고 누가 짜면 그런 거 못해 잡다 놓다가 새 폰에
That's when CHANGMO decided that he needed an alternative stage name, and that's how he came up with Underground Rockstar.
제가 그 당시 때 냈던 뭐 마에스트로나 아름다워나 뭐 아이야나 이러한 곡들처럼 전국적으로 이제 사랑을 받는 노래가 나온 게 별로 없단 말이에요. 그래서 저는 그때 이제 그 생각을 했죠. 아, 내가 좀 독보적인 놈이긴 하는구나. 그래서 뭔가가 필요했어요. 왜냐면 누구나 다 좀 얼터이고나 닉네임 같은 걸 만들고 싶어 하잖아요. 그래서 언더그라운드에서 온 락스타다 해서 언더그라운드 락스타인데.
And yeah, you can hear use it from 2018 with the EPD and SJ, and for instance the song Holy God.
Underground rockstar, go, okay, let's get it. Underground rockstar, hill.
Now you may wonder why he chose such a stage name. And well, he gave some explanations.
언더그라운드 락스타라는 이제 문장을 보면서 저도 이제 어느 순간 그냥 깨달았어요. 이게 절대 양립이 할 수가 없는 단어고, 그 다음에 지금 내 상황을 봤을 때 나는 그 언더그라운드랑 락스타랑 그 사이에 있는 사람 같다. 근데 저는 솔직히 진짜 모든 거를 다 갖다 붙일 수 있는 사람이긴 하잖아요. 이제 뭐 팝스타라고 해도 되고 랩스타라고 해도 되고 그냥 뭐 셀럽이라 해도 되고, 뭐 제 팬들은 알 것 같아요. 제가 그러한 단어들보다는 그냥 언더그라운드 락스타라는 말이 더 어울리는 사람일 거라는 거를. 왜냐면은 저한테는 이제 그 언더그라운드라는 단어가 어렸을 때부터 정말 멋있고, 그 다음에 나한테 달고 싶고 내가 활동하고 싶은 곳이었거든요. 그래서 언더그라운드 락스타, 예, 맞잖아요.
I'm not sure if it's any more clear though, so I will try to give you my own interpretation. The concept of underground rockstar is kind of a paradox because it's pretty much an oxymoron. Well, it's tricky to define what an underground artist is, but underground seems incompatible with being a rockstar, as by nature, rockstars are shining, you know. But CHANGMO did come from the underground scene to rise and shine like a rock star, so in a way, it does make sense. Also, to him, underground is more a culture than a status, like performing in front of a small audience in clubs, for instance. And I believe that it is a bit the same for rockstar. Actually, I talked about CHANGMO's fascination with the term rockstar at the end of my video, Alternative Rock, the Rockstar Phenomenon in South Korea. You can find the link in the description if you're interested. But I think that one thing that really displays this notion of the underground in CHANGMO's journey is his attachment to Deokso and how it became a real signature. To be honest, I wanted to count the number of times CHANGMO mentioned Deokso in his lyrics, but yeah, no, it was too much. And you know, this idea of giving shoutouts to your hometown is really a fundamental of the hip-hop culture, to show that you're proud to come from the city and to contribute to its renown. It is kind of a way to give back. But surprisingly, it is not that common in Korean hip-hop, and it is fair to say that CHANGMO is one of the artists that represents his city the most. Even LIBILLY, the streetwear brand that he launched with his friends from Deokso, is a direct reference to his hometown with the logo 031, which is none other than the area code of the Gyeonggi-do province, the province where Deokso is located. The brand philosophy itself is to represent Deokso street culture. Even though CHANGMO is at the top, does not forget where he comes from, the underground. It is part of who he is, and this makes him all the more relatable. But ultimately, if the contrasting notion of underground rockstar represents CHANGMO so well, it is because CHANGMO himself is a man of contrasts. And to me, those contrasts are an integral part of his success. The most obvious demonstration of those contrasts is with his influences. As I told you earlier, CHANGMO grew between two worlds, the classical music, jazz music world, and hip-hop. He also used to play in a band in school, and this experience would have opened him to rock music and groups from the 70s, 80s like Sanolim or Deokso. When talking about CHANGMO's influences, it is impossible not to mention Kanye West, though.
이제 저는 그 아까도 말씀드렸다시피 카니의 극성 빠돌이고, 그 다음에 그 카니의 음악을 닮고 싶어가지고 카니의 음악을 카피도 해보고, 뭔가 샘플링을 한 원곡을 이제 들었을 때, 아, 이 사람이 그러면 이 앨범도 들었을까? 그래가지고 이 또 다른 이 샘플 곡이 나온 건가 하면서 유추를 할 정도로 저는 진짜 그렇게 카니를 좀 카니과예요. 저는 고졸이지만 이제 카니 대학 카니과인데.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, released in 2010, would have had a very strong impact on his vision of music and art. From the music, the visuals, the performance, and even this sense of border pretentiousness that is proper to Kanye. This album seemingly opened a whole new world to him. The fact that his music can remind people of Kanye West is an honor for him. He listened to Kanye so much that it only makes sense that people would feel it while listening to his music to some extent. However, his goal has never been to be a Kanye West copycat. No, He wants to do his own music. He used to never miss a release from Big Sean as well, or listen to Dr. Dre and Tupac a lot. In an interview, he highlighted how he would have understood hip-hop grammar thanks to Tupac's All About You.
It's true what they telling me. Fresh out of jail like hell for a black celebrity. So that's the reason why I call. And maybe you with it. Fantasies of a sweating, can I hit it? Addicted to the things you do. It's still true. What I'm saying, boo, is this is all about you.
He also learned a lot from Korean artists, especially from rappers from older generations such as Occasion, G2, Swings, and obviously from Illionaire Records. To him, The Kid, The Quiet, and Benzino have their own freshness, and one of his goals is to perpetuate the legacy of Illionaire. So yeah, all those influences, the fact that he trained to be a professional pianist, directly impacted his perception of music and the way he creates. Melodies are essential to him, maybe more than for most hip-hop artists. I mean, that's how he came up with 몰라시게.
끝끼리 세워놓은 빌딩 속에 정글링도 서울들이 비지 모래시계 모양 내주시면 누군 거기에 아름다운 넌 나의 키스 소린 다들 같은데 그래서 너와 내가 다르대 나 알잖아 다른 둘이서 그 몸은 너무 같은 girl.
I'm not sure how to say that properly in English, but so 3 out of 4 time signatures, so the fact that when you count the beats it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 instead of the classic 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it's more common for waltzes than for hip-hop, you know. And maybe it's because of those diverse influences that CHANGMO is able to experiment sonically so much. Funnily enough, it's in his album Underground Rockstar, released in 2021, that CHANGMO lashed out his creativity the most. It's to the point that the fans that especially liked Boyhood, his first album, might have been a bit unsettled when they listened to Underground Rockstar for the first time. But there are so many details in this album, the more you listen to it, the more it grows on you. I also wrote a full analysis about it, you can find the link in the description if you want to read more about it. The fact that he grew up with so many influences probably cultivated his curiosity as well. And that could explain why he is so aware of the trends. He was among the first in Korea to give a try to drill, for instance.
outfit Nike tech fleece 내가 추구하는 본색 그는 GGN 갱들처럼 래퍼의 feed 요즘은 날처럼 나 대스타가 돼 잘 같지도 못해 소피 물론 코로나가 컸지만
Musical influences are one thing, but CHANGMO himself seems to have a pretty complex personality. Or at least that's what he shows through his lyrics. If it was not for his boundless ambition, CHANGMO would not be who he is right now. He does not hesitate to boast in his lyrics. Never about original things though. But yeah, one of the best examples is probably Meteor. But paradoxically, CHANGMO might also be his biggest enemy. Or at least, he seems to set himself very high expectations. Maybe too high sometimes. To the point that it might be counterproductive and somehow destructive.
근데 뭔가 얻는 게 있으면은 잃는 것도 있다라는 말 있잖아. 그게 진짜 맞는 것 같아. 내가 원하는 무대 이런 거 서고 하는데 동시에 부담감은 더 커지지. 그냥 작업실에 가서 이제 키보드 앞에 앉았어. 피아노 앞에. 그걸 쳐. 근데 느낌이 안 올 때 나는 일단 음악이 안 나올 때 내가 제일 쓸데없는 인간이구나라는 걸 느껴.
There is no doubt that he's a perfectionist. To the point that more often than not, he's not satisfied with his beats and thus tirelessly works on them until they reach his standards. Sometimes, he even prefers to wait literally years to use an instrumental, until he's ready to write lyrics that will fit well, just like with the song Serenade. He composed the song back in 2015, but kept on postponing working on it because he felt that it was not the right time yet. He wanted to write more mature lyrics, and only released it in 2019 with the album Boyhood. It is to the point that he even tries to take care of the mixing himself because he is afraid for this final step to change the whole vibe of a track too much. He does give the feeling to be very self-aware though. When you pay attention to his lyrics, you can definitely notice an introspective side, and to me, this definitely contributed to his success. If CHANGMO became so influential, it might indeed be because he is so relatable. In his lyrics, CHANGMO never hesitates to be open and transparent. Transparent about the struggle he faced as an aspiring artist, and the frustration he felt of not being acknowledged, like in the song Bilosso, translated as Wish, which is about the conversation he had with The Quiet when he offered him to join Ambition Music, and everything he did after the talk.
평생 꽃만을 꿨죠 알잖아요 꿈은 난 들잖아도 나 이 순간을 나 평생 떠올렸죠 친구들이 대학을 갈 때 나 한강에 가서 술을 마시네 대내이면서 세상은 날 싫어해 그렇지 그럴만 했어 그때 몰라 그리고 왜서 하려고 하지도 않잖아 눈물을 흘렸지 내 방 속에서 눈물을 흘려 의도했어 또 눈물 맛이 달라 비로소 밤마다 이럴 때 스크림에 오그라들게 두 손을 모으고 말야
But also transparent about the disenchantment of success. Because of his new status, CHANGMO could have stopped being relatable, because he doesn't share the same reality as the majority of his public. But no, he's not afraid to talk about ugly truths, about the sacrifices that have been required, like in Vivienne that has been co-produced with his friend Paul Blanco.
여기가 내 미신이 더 없다 소리를 거리는 애 들어와서 기운이 지글리어 하나씩 걔네 후만 나게 되는 챕터는 미음이니 아이 끝이야 이 기어를 이제는 here we hey 눈물 흘리는 대위에 난 흘러 11병쯤에 갤리 내 계절을 사고 싶다면 사기는 몇십 대쯤에 벨리 넘어가니까 넘어서 뼈에 몇천 병쯤에 위스키
And in the end, this is in fact very linked to CHANGMO's vision of hip-hop. To him, hip-hop is first and foremost about being genuine. And to be genuine, well, you need to be self-aware in the first place. So yeah, if CHANGMO became the underground rock star, it is because he is by definition a complex person. But it is also this complexity that is at the basis of his success. CHANGMO will leave his mark on the Korean urban scene because of how relatable he is. He's not afraid to always try new things and to show new sides of himself. He's genuine. CHANGMO is one of those artists who is always a step ahead, so it's tough to predict what is going to be his next move. One thing is for sure though, and it's that now that he's at the top, he would like to help the new generation of artists. He implied that he had the project to open his own label, so yeah, I guess that now we can only wait to see where his vision will lead him. Well, that's it for today. As you can imagine, this video was a lot of work, so I hope that you had a great time. I can't wait to read your thoughts about it. If you want more information about CHANGMO, I also wrote a more detailed article. The link is in the description and you will find all the sources I used as well. And for more content about the Korean urban scene, well, you have all my social network below, so yeah, you can also subscribe and follow K.viar on Twitter, Instagram, and I cannot guarantee anything yet, but I would like to be more active on Twitch too. Stay safe!